Hello everyone, this is Frontend News and we are really happy to see you again.
It's nice to see you today. We have 5 news for you, so let's start.
The first news which we're gonna talk about is Typescript 4.8.
The second one is React Router version 6.4.
The next one will be Safari version 16.
Then we have news in forms.
And last but not least, we're gonna talk about MemLab.
MemLab. Nice name.
No, it's not about memes.
Oh, no. How was your week? How are you?
You know, I can't get used to the weather because it started to getting cold and it's really, I guess, bad weather for doing something outside, yeah.
For doing anything?
Not really for doing anything. You can always read books or something, yeah. You can spend time.
You can watch Frontend news.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, a lot to do.
Yeah.
But I plan to whine that it is too cold for the next 6 months. That's my plan for a half of year.
Okay, that's nice.
You didn't get my joke. I'm sorry.
No, I get it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's start, maybe.
So, the first news we're gonna start talking about is the latest version of Typescript, which has a bunch of new features, correctness and consistency improvements. Let's jump to the quick overview of them. First one is improved intersection reduction, union compatibility, and narrowing. These changes affect how intersection and union types work and are leveraged in how Typescript narrows types. Another thing which we're gonna mention is improved inference for infer types in template string types. So in Typescript now there is a new way to add extends constraints to infer type variables in conditional types. This basically means that we have better conversation what a library will do at runtime and will give us more precise types. The next thing which Typescript 4.8 introduces are build, watch, and incremental comments, performance improvements. Typescript is now able to avoid spending time updating timestamps during no operation changes in watch mode, which makes rebuild much more faster. It is said that these improvements reduces time from 10 to 25% on simple common operations and around to 40% time reductions in no change operations. When running find all references in your editor tab, Typescript is now able to act a little smarter as it aggregates references. This reduced the amount of time Typescript took to search a widely used identifier in its own codebase by about 20%. There are much more news and interesting things about Typescript 4.8. You can check the full list of improvements and changes in our links, which you will find in the description.
The next thing which we're going to speak about is React Router version 6.4, which comes with the data API from Remix. In this release, we have new conventions, APIs, and automatic behaviors for loading data into components, updating data in components, automatic data revalidation after updates, and managing race conditions and interruptions for navigations, mutations, and revalidation. Then we have managing errors and rendering something useful to the user. We have also pending UI, skeleton UI with React suspense, and much more. And now we will point out a little bit the most interesting ones for you. Pending UI navigation. The first one worth mentioning, in our opinion, is pending UI navigation. So when you, as a user, navigate around the app, the data for the next page is being loaded before the page is rendered. So React Router provides user feedback during this time so that the app doesn't feel like being unrespondable. Then data loading. Another thing which we're going to talk about regarding latest versions of React Router is data loading. React Router now provides conventional data loading hooks to initiate data loading during navigating between the pages. All of the data for multiple layouts can be now loaded in parallel for a specific URL. You can check the rest of features, upgrades and improvements on the official React Router website and by visiting the link we provided for you in the description.
The third news for today is Safari version 16.0. This release contains quite a few new web technologies that web developers can use to make their sites and web apps better. We're gonna now talk about the most interesting in our opinion. The latest version of Safari adds supports for passkeys, which provide users an easy way to log in while delivering a profound increase in security. This technology, which makes passkeys possible, is in open standards with W3C and FIDO Alliance, includes WebAuth standard, which is supported in the most common browsers now. Basically, what is cool about passkeys is that you can offer it alongside your existing authentication options, and basically we encourage you to read more about them in Safari docs. Another new thing is Web Inspector extensions, enabling you to enhance Safari built-in developer tools. You can basically check them all and download by searching Web Inspector extensions in the App Store. There are plenty of tools from third-party developer services, test suites, and frameworks. Next thing which we would like to point out is container queries, which, in similar to media queries, allow you to adjust the layout or styling of an item on your web page based on the size of its container rather than size of viewports. Safari 16 now supports size queries and container query units. Container query units are basically similar to viewport units, but the difference is that they specify a length relative to the dimensions of the query container, not the viewport. There are plenty of other new things and improvements in Safari, such as Subgrid, Apple Pay support for merchant tokens, accessibility and animation improvements, and much more. You can check the full list in the official Safari docs or in the link we provided in the description.
The next thing which we're going to speak about is new things in forms which have been added due to constantly upgrading browsers. Basically, they add plenty of new HTML, JavaScript and CSS features, and some of these useful additions we're going to speak about now. The first one is support for request submit method in Safari version 16. Request submit is an alternative way to submit a form via JavaScript, but comparing to submit method, form validation will prevent form from being submitted, and when all the data passes validation, submit event will be fired. It seems to be more elegant solution in that case. Another one is show picker method for input elements, which has been supported from Chrome 99, Firefox 101 and Safari 16. It provides displaying the selection UI for input elements whose type attribute is date, month, week, time, color or file. Inert is a new HTML attribute. It's not only for forms, but forms are certainly a key use case. Unlike the disabled attribute, inert can be applied to a form element itself. Everything within the form will be non-focusable and non-clickable. There are plenty more things regarding form news specifics in browser, and you can check full list here.
In the description.
Yeah, exactly. And now my favorite MemLab.
Yes, it's not about making memes, I told you. Last but not least, we're gonna talk about MemLab. It's an open source framework for finding JavaScript memory leaks. We're gonna make a highlight for a few most interesting features which this framework provides for developers. First one is memory leak detection. For in-browser memory leak detection, the only input MemLab requires from developers is a test scenario file that defines how to interact with the web page by overriding 3 callbacks with the Puppeteer API and CSS selectors. MemLab automatically differs the JavaScript heap, refines memory leak, and aggregates results. Next one is GraphView API for JavaScript heap. MemLab supports a self-defined leak detection as a filter callback that is applied to each leak candidate object allocated by the target interaction but never released afterwards. The leak filter callback can traverse the heap and decide which objects are memory leaks. Another thing which we are gonna point out are memory assertions. A Node.js program or jest test can also use the GraphView API to get a heap graph view of its own state, to do a self-memory checking and write all kinds of memory assertion. And in addition to memory leak detection, MemLab includes a set of built-in CLI commands and APIs for finding memory optimization. What MemLab also provides is Memory Toolbox. In addition to memory leak detection, MemLab includes a set of built-in CLI commands and APIs for finding memory optimization opportunities.
That's all we prepared for today.
Thank you very much for watching us.
And see you next time.
Bye.
Bye!